Manchild and the Promised Land is a novel written by American author Claude Brown in 1965. The book offers a fictionalized account of Brown's childhood experiences, chronicling his life in the world of Harlem street crime and juvenile correctional facilities starting at the age of 6. Although it initially faced controversy and bans in certain school districts for its explicit content, it is now recognized for its authentic portrayal of racism, urban poverty, and the struggles faced by the working class in mid-20th century America. Set in Harlem during the years 1940 to 1960, the story is narrated in the first person by Claude Brown, a character based on the author himself. The narrative opens with a 13-year-old Claude getting shot while attempting to steal bedspreads from a laundry line. While recuperating in the hospital and awaiting transfer to a juvenile detention center, Claude reflects on his early experiences with street crime, which commenced when he was just 6 years old. Claude resides with his parents, who are former sharecroppers from the South. His mother, a deeply religious woman, constantly worries about her children, while his father, an emotionally distant and abusive man struggling with alcohol addiction, instills fear in Claude. The young boy finds solace in the company of his younger brother, Pimp, and his local friends, engaging in activities like theft and fights. The narrative also delves into Claude's initial incarceration at a reform school years before the shooting incident. Eventually, his parents sent him to live with relatives in South Carolina, exposing him to the differences between rural and urban life. However, Claude's penchant for theft, fighting, and truancy persists, leading to his placement in his first reform school, the Wiltwick School for Boys in upstate New York. Despite forming a close bond with the school's president, Dr. Ernst Papanek, Claude continues to engage in petty criminal activities. Meanwhile, back in Harlem, Claude's childhood friends are grappling with the harsh realities of life. Many of them are falling into the clutches of heroin addiction, facing incarceration in high-security prisons, or tragically succumbing to their fates. During his visits home, Claude witnesses the distressing transformation of Harlem, a neighborhood he once called home, now undergoing unwelcome changes. After recuperating from the gunshot wound, Claude finds himself enrolled in a reform school known as Warwick. Here, he establishes a reputation as a formidable fighter and is introduced to the world of jazz, which will leave an indelible mark on his future. Claude's tenure at Warwick spans 3 separate stays, one of which is voluntary. He becomes disenchanted with life in Harlem and seeks an escape from its troubles. During his final stay, the school president's wife introduces him to books, igniting a newfound love for reading. Upon his release, Claude briefly returns to his criminal activities, working as a hustler and marijuana dealer in Harlem. However, adhering to a pattern evident throughout the novel, he grows weary of this lifestyle and embarks on a major life transformation. Claude begins attending night school to complete his high school diploma and eventually relocates to Greenwich Village in pursuit of a fresh start. As the narrative progresses, Claude becomes increasingly attuned to significant social issues plaguing his community. He observes the devastating heroin epidemic ravaging Harlem, the escalating police violence targeting individuals with addictions, and the emerging sense of racial consciousness among Black Americans. He dedicates more time to his younger brother, Pimp, striving to prevent him from dropping out of school. During a visit to his childhood neighborhood, Claude learns that 2 of his friends have lost their lives due to gang-related violence. This tragedy prompts another friend, Danny, to seek recovery from heroin addiction in Kentucky. Witnessing these events profoundly impacts Claude, prompting him to abandon marijuana use and focus on his education and mastering jazz piano. These positive changes boost his confidence and draw him back to Harlem. In one of his early encounters with organized religion, Claude crosses paths with an old friend who has converted to the Coptic faith. Intrigued, Claude attends a few classes with his friend but eventually ceases his participation upon realizing that he cannot genuinely embrace its tenets. As he continues to witness the struggles of his childhood friends, many succumbing to addiction or imprisonment, Claude finds solace in the company of Turk, a renowned local boxer who symbolizes triumph over socioeconomic adversity. Additionally, Claude reunites with Danny, who has successfully overcome his heroin addiction. Amidst the successes of his friends Turk and Danny, Claude's childhood sweetheart, Sugar, falls victim to heroin addiction. During their final meeting, Sugar confides in Claude about her failed marriage, leaving him with a profound sense of remorse for not treating her more compassionately during their youth. Claude endeavors to mend his relationship with his mother by assisting her with minor maintenance issues in their family apartment. He also dedicates more time to his younger brother, Pimp, concerned about the negative influence of their parents' traditional Southern beliefs. Despite Claude's earnest efforts, he is disheartened to find Pimp in a bar, under the influence of heroin, leading to their father's decision to expel Pimp from the household. Meanwhile, Claude discovers that many of his childhood friends converted to Islam while incarcerated. He engages in extensive conversations with two of them, delving into topics such as religion, racial identity, and anti-black oppression. However, Claude ultimately decides against conversion. During this period, Claude embarks on a brief yet passionate romance with Judy Strumpf, a fellow night school student who is of white and Jewish descent. Their relationship takes a tumultuous turn when Judy abruptly ends it, possibly due to her parents' racial prejudices. Claude is left devastated and seeks solace by immersing himself even further in the vibrant streets of Harlem. He joins a group of young jazz musicians who steer clear of drug use and takes on various odd jobs, including working as a cosmetics salesman, all while exploring ways to make his dream of attending college a reality. Claude manages to pass the entrance exam for Columbia University, but his financial constraints prevent him from pursuing higher education. Claude and his parents receive alarming news that Pimp, who has persistently battled heroin addiction, faces arrest after attempting to rob a hospital. In a compassionate effort, Claude assists his brother in gaining admission to a treatment program. Regrettably, Pimp relapses and is apprehended for armed robbery. During a prison visit, Claude encounters Pimp, who appears to have accepted his grim fate. Claude also learns about the tragic and violent circumstances surrounding the death of his close friend, Tony Albee, who had similarly fallen victim to heroin addiction. The narrative then fast-forwards to the present, as Claude reflects on the profound transformations Harlem has undergone throughout his lifetime. Although he no longer resides in New York, he relishes his visits to Harlem, where he reunites with the still content and prosperous Danny and Turk. The novel concludes with Claude contemplating the distinction between dreams and reality, acknowledging that, while much of his childhood may seem dreamlike in retrospect, it was an undeniable part of his life. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.